It says the Holy Scriptures were about him, or maybe he was just compelled by the direct language about. But he bowed down to him. He gave them gifts. That's in the Josephus. It says a language about a mighty king from Greece overthrowing the Persian Empire, and it was considered lunacy to even think about going up against the Persian Empire. They showed you that in the movie The 300. They had vast armies, and they had a group of men called what was they called? Not the Untouchables. What was the name of that group? The Immortals, meaning they could never die, which meant that there were so many of them. When you killed a bunch of them, he might have killed 1,000 of them. Guess what? Another 1,000 to come. So it seemed like they didn't die. They just kept coming. It says especially, so the fact that Alexander was able to take down the Persian Empire was the Most High was with him. It says especially since he had already made so much progress toward that end. Whatever the reasoning, Alexander the Great believed that he himself was the man being discussed in these passages. So he believed it. He believed that it was a true prophecy and that he himself was in the process of fulfilling it. It's just like us here at Great Millstone, and at the end of the day, when everything's said and done, when that marketed beast, that chip is put out there, everybody's going to be talking about GMS because we put the most videos out on the marketed beast. That's a major prophecy. So why not talk about it? It said Josephus wrote about Alexander's reaction to Yahweh in Antiquities of the Jews, book 11, chapter 8, section 5. If you go to the web, you put in Antiquity of the Jews, the Josephus, and you put in book 11, it'll give you chapter, verse, and section. It says William Whiston translation, 1981. So you have different translations of the Josephus. It says, and when the book of Daniel was showed him, wherein Daniel declared that one of the Greeks would destroy the empire of the Persians, he supposed that himself was the person intended. That was Alexander thinking. And as he was then glad, he dismissed the multitude for the present. But the next day he called them to him and bid them ask what favors they pleased of him, whereupon the high priest desired that they might enjoy the laws of their forefathers. So he granted them, okay, you can keep your laws, and might pay no tribute on the 7th year. He granted all they desired, and when they entreated him that he would permit the Jews in Babylon and Media to enjoy their own laws also, he willingly promised to do hereafter what they desired. Alexander not only believed the prophecies in Daniel were about himself, but because of that belief, he gave great favor to the Jews. And we those people coming back. We are those priests and those prophets coming back. And like I said early in the video, you got a lot of these Christians are getting more into the book. They're now accepting the Apocrypha, whether they accept it as it is history. The book of Maccabees is history. The Hanukkah or Hanukkah feast, the only place you can find it is in the book of Maccabees. It said he had pillaged. He had pillaged and plundered many other cities, often renaming them and acquiring them to adopt much of the Greco-Macedonian culture. ultimately became to be Hellenized. But for the city of Jerusalem, it was different. He allowed the Jews to keep their own laws, and he gave them a massive break in paying tribute. He said, so, hey, Alexander wasn't such a bad guy after all, even though he was a devil. It says, he said he would basically give them whatever they asked of him. Josephus goes on to explain that the Samaritans were so astounded by Alexander's treatment of the Jews that when Alexander came to their city next, they tried to convince him that they were, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Let me read that again. Tawadi Yahweh Shemal Shah for leading me to this article. It said Josephus goes on to explain that the Samaritans, who are the original Samaritans? The Ephraimites, right? Was they not taken out of their land? And who was placed in there? These other people that were being attacked by lions, and the king had to go and get one of the priests and bring them over there to teach them the laws, so they keep the laws and the lions won't attack them, right? I'm gonna read that in a minute. But it says they try to say, look, we're Jews too. We're Jews too. Alexander wasn't having it. He said, you motherfuckers ain't real Jews, even though you keep the laws. Let me read it again. It said Josephus goes on to explain that Samaritans, we know who the Samaritans are. Those are not the woman at the well. She wasn't a Jew. She wasn't an Israelite. That's why the Lord cursed her ass out. It says, you know not what you worship. We know what we worship, for salvation is a Jew. He shut that bitch down. It says, we're so astonished by Alexander's treatment of the Jews that when Alexander came to their city next, they tried to convince him that they were also Jewish. They wanted to be shown that same favor. It says this glimpse back into a seldom discussed chapter of Alexander's life shows how prophecy and history intersected in Jerusalem or Jerusalem in a dramatic way. To understand the astonishing prophecy God's inspired Daniel to record, please request our powerful 5-booklet history and prophecy of the Middle East. So, I mean, he didn't say, no, I'm not going to do it, but he said that these Samaritans said, when Alexander comes among us, we're going to say that we're Jews, which they were not Jews, okay? They try to convince him that they were also Jews, which they were not Jews. Go to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, and read about the 20th verse on down. Okay, so that's it on that. And I'll put this up raw from the door. It's just some more information, man. That's why you got to study, man. Okay, this is the Trumpet, and like I said, you can get their magazine. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna favorite this page, and I'll come back and I'll get the 800 number, and I'll probably start getting the magazine again. Anyway, let me go to a scripture or two. He mentioned Daniel, right? Daniel 11. So we're going to go to Daniel 11. I'll start at 1. Daniel 11 verse 1. Also, I in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be richer than them all. And let me see if I can remember. Cambyses II, Bardia, also known as Smyrna. That was his Greek name. And I believe Darius was the 3rd. and Xerxes was the fourth that was richer than them all. It says, be richer than they all. And by his strength, by Xerxes' strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all the realm of Greco, or the Greeks. Matter of fact, let me prove that. You might say, well, how do I know that that's talking about the Greeks? It says Greca, or Grecia. And I believe it's going to say Yawan. It says Yawan. And Yawan goes back to the sons of Japhet, which these Edomites went in there and pushed them out of the land. It says, third verse, and a mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. Fourth verse, and when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided toward the four winds of the heaven, and not to his posterity, not to his family. Because Alexander's children or cousins or sons or daughters, they didn't rule. It was the men that came up with them that ruled. I believe they killed them off. It says, nor according to the dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up even for others beside those. Beside those are his family members, whether he had sons or daughters. Then it goes into the king of the south and the king of the north. The king of the south represents the Ptolemaic dynasty, and the king of the north represents the Seleucid dynasty. And they had a series of wars. They call them the Syrian Wars. I believe there were 5 or 6 of them. I believe 6. So this all been fulfilled. This is all spoken about in secular history. Let's go to Daniel 8. Daniel 8. Let me see here and go right to the point. Do it this way. Daniel 8 verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the king of Media and Persia, the Median Persian Empire, Persian Media Empire. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. That first king is Alexander. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power, because the kingdom's going to be Alexander's kingdom's going to be split. So that's another prophecy. And then of course Daniel 7. Daniel 7 verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which that's Alexander, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. The 4 heads represents the generals that came up under Alexander. So the 7th verse is referring to the pagan Roman Empire, going back a little more than 2,000 years ago. I mean, this is stuff that we know by heart. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom, and it's on to the next one. I'm going to put this up raw.